Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about my journey into, out of, and back into game design. And specifically card games, traditional card games that you can hold in your hand. That's always what I've been about. But if you're into games or if you're into game design, I think you're going to appreciate this video today, even if you're not specifically into card games. So also I want to recommend you check out my playlist, which has gotten a lot of support, a lot of appreciative comments and likes. I have a playlist about how to go from go from 0 to 1 in terms of bringing your first game to life. So I do have that playlist on my channel. I'll put a link in this video. But it's been a while since I shared and sort of encapsulated my life story to this point, up to this point in terms of game design. So let's do it today. And by the way, if you have a story that you'd like to share about your journey through game design, please leave it down below. I'd love to meet other game designers and we can play off each other and vibe and inspire one another. So, my journey started with card games. I think it's because I always played a lot of card games in my youth. I played all kinds of games in my youth. I was a very fun-loving, creative individual. I loved video games, I loved outdoor games, I loved tabletop games, I loved the Game Boy, but maybe card games was perhaps foremost among the sort of indoor table games that we used to play. And I think the first card game I probably ever learned how to play might have been poker, or it could have been other card games with a deck of poker cards. Pokemon came along, Magic the Gathering, I got into that, got into a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, got into Star Wars, CCG card game. Always loved collecting cards, always loved designing decks. I always loved to go to the hobby store that sold, the one I had in mind wasn't particularly a hobby store. It was really all about cards mostly. So going to the local card shop, seeing what they have on offer, and getting into this with so many family and friends. So that's kind of my background, is it was something I was really into when I was young. So what you attach to when you're young, it never truly goes away, it never truly dies. It's always lurking there somewhere inside. So soon enough, I started to want to make my own card games. When I was that age, I wanted to try my hand at designing some of my own. Now, my artwork was pretty crude, although it did certainly improve over time. But one thing that I think I was always fairly good at was designing how the game works and having a standard way to play the game, having a standard set of rules, creating the packs for sale, creating some stories, doing a little bit of rudimentary marketing around the game, and selling it and sharing it with my friends and getting everybody to play it. So I used to like to design games, and in those days, probably every few months, I would be coming up with a new game. And I have shared this on social media before. I've gone back and I've taken some photos and videos of my card games from those days, starting from maybe age 13 or 14 through to maybe around my early 20s was when it sort of phased out. But I'll share those again sometimes. I'll share my start. I don't have them here with me in China. They're back at my family's home in the States. But whenever I go back and pull those out, I definitely get sort of re-inspired. But where did it go? What happened to it? Again, the title of this video today is my journey into, out of, and back into game design. So when I was in university, I placed less and less emphasis on game design. I pretty much stopped designing card games, and I really played them less and less and less. And the reason was because I think I was getting more concerned with figuring out what was going to be my job after I graduated. I really had to focus on my studies more, and I also had a job. I did an undergraduate degree program, then I went on to grad school. I was doing a master's degree, and also I had a job at the same time. So things were just really busy. I was trying to figure out my life, what I was going to do after college. So through those years, I kind of put card game design off to the side. I remember there was a time in university when I wondered if I could do a major in game design. I don't think it existed at that time, maybe, but there were some classes for game design, and I remember I sat in on one, but I just felt really out of place because, at least it seemed to me at that time, the game designers, the students in that room, they just seemed like really, really nerdy, for lack of a better word. I just didn't really feel like I fit in well with them. I'm always been a little bit of an outsider to the realm of game design because I haven't played like thousands of games like some of the game designers and gamers do. I don't have, a lot of the game designers and gamers out there, this is like their number one thing. They live and breathe games, so they know so much about it. So I just don't always gel with them super well because for me, gaming and game design it's always been a significant part, but just a part of many things that I'm interested in, many things that I do. So anyways, I pretty much put it to the side in university, decided to move to China, came to China, started teaching here, loved it. As the years were rolling by as a teacher, I felt that something was missing. And what it turned out to be was my passion. I had lost touch with one of those passions, which was for me significant in my childhood, and that was gaming and game design. And there was a lot of factors that sort of coalesced at that moment. This was in my late 20s to give me this aha moment that I needed to get back into that, and I needed to reattach to that source of primal power and creative production. So several things were going on. I realized that the technologies had changed a lot in ways that could seriously help me to make better games like I never had before, like technologies I had only dreamed about back in the day. Like back in the day, my technology was a scanner. I remember convincing my parents to buy like $100 scanner so that I could scan my handmade cards and make copies and cut them out. I thought I was a boss back in the day for realizing how I could use a scanner. So when I realized in my late 20s, now I can easily create and design my own website and put a shop into that website. When I realized print-on-demand industries had exploded so that I could print professionally, not only my own card games, but maybe my own books, t-shirts, hats, and whatnot, I was getting really excited. I was also inspired by students at that time who were business majors. I had no background in business, no understanding of business whatsoever. I even have found selling and marketing to be a little bit distasteful to me. That has been a really hard barrier I've had to overcome in order to try to sell my creative works. But I found inspiration in these young business majors who had parents who were running businesses. They planned to help out their parents, help out their families, or they were even planning to start their own businesses. And they were quite serious about it. That was their major, that was their path. So I drew inspiration from them and I suggested, let's draft out our own business plans and actually take steps to get the ball rolling on these things. And I decided that I would show them the first steps that I would take into creating card games to sell for the first time in probably 5 or 7 years, I guess. And also I did have a realization that I wasn't using my free time as well as I could. And that's been a constant journey for me, deeper and deeper and deeper into learning how to use every spare minute effectively. There's so much we can do in our lives when we take control of every spare moment of time that we have and don't waste it with trivial entertainments. We're in a war like never before, a war of attention with digital devices and distractions. So I had a big realization in that moment that I had plenty of free time to design and start selling card games, and I needed to use it if I was to feel truly happy and truly fulfilled. So that's when I really reconnected to that childhood passion of card game design, reignited that flame, took off and started cooking and started, flying again. And I made my first game in quite a long while. It was called Chinese Champions. I made it to inspire myself to learn Mandarin better. I started playing that more with friends, and I found their reaction was positive, and I found a lot of them were saying, could you make this for the language that I'm studying? I'm not really into Mandarin. Could you make it for French? Could you make it for Spanish? And then I had the thought, well, I could spend a lot of time making a game for Spanish, and then a game for French, and then a game for Arabic, or I could focus on making games that are generally applicable to all language learners. Okay, so that's really when the idea exploded, and I started making all kinds of games that can work for language learners, no matter what language they're after. It will help you, it will give you prompts, it will help you to review and enrich whatever target language you're after. So I just kept putting out game after game after game. Now, where has this led me? Where does the project stand now? Well, it has not led to financial success. I like to share actually that Bob Proctor quote, which is, now how does it go now? He says, I'm already rich. I'm just a little short on cash, or something like that. So it hasn't led me to financial success, but I have felt incredibly enriched and enlivened. I feel like I got my wings back, my passion back. I feel like I have reasons for living and reason to inspire others. And that's basically because I've reattached to creative production. I think that's the bottom line. As humans, we're wired to create. We're wired to get into flow states and unleash our products and ideas upon the world and see them transform others in positive ways. So that's really motivated me year after year after year to create the next game, the next game, the next game, and I never get bored of it. So I hope you guys can find that thing too that you would do for free if you could. If money wasn't an option, what would you do? What do you love to do? And by the way, that's not just watching your favorite TV show. I'm talking, what would you do in terms of creative production? What would you do that could meaningfully impact others? So, but I have had some modest success, some humble success. Since 2016, I've sold hundreds of physical games to about 22 countries, and I've sold many more printable games and now online games. So I really am grateful for all my customers who have bought a game, but perhaps even more important to me than that is I've met a lot of really new, cool, and interesting people from all over the world. I've made friendships with people from all over the world, having had sent games to so many countries, and connecting with those people over email to see how they like the game, what languages are they learning, where are they from, what's their job. And some of these people I go on to interview or have online gaming sessions with, or we just help each other out in a variety of ways. And that's something I really treasure, and I hope more and more in the future I'll get to meet these people in real life. The opportunity for that is definitely there. But doing this has also increased my focus, it's increased my capacity for deep work, it's improved my creative writing, my design abilities, my long-term thinking and planning, it's improved my ability to manage a team, because I can't do this alone. I have to work with artists, and so it's helped me to be able to communicate my vision to a wider number of people and get us all together working in the same direction. So it's made me a better communicator in that sense. And again, it's only made my passion increase in terms of my desire to put out that next best, greatest project. So my passion has not dimmed, it's only grown stronger and stronger. And currently I'm working on heading into Language Land 2. Okay, this is the second edition of my latest and greatest game, heading into Language Land 2. If you want to check that out, there's a playlist for it and all my games on the homepage of my YouTube channel. Now, you might not be specifically into game design, or language learning. In fact, neither am I. This is not the only thing that I do in my life, and it's not even my number one priority. You guys have to understand that. There's so many things that I'd love to do in my daily life, including taking care of my family, having good relationships with them, raising my little daughter well, practicing different skills with her, doing my exercise daily, reading, writing. I'm reading different kinds of books that have no relations to these kinds of things. I just don't show all those things. I try to keep my social media focused on one area. I hope it will be more effective in that way. But perhaps over time I'll be sharing a little bit more of those types of things here and there, just to show you a little bit more about my life so you understand the full picture. But what I really hope is you will not look at this channel too narrowly. Keep in mind the overarching picture of what I'm trying to share with you, what I'm trying to communicate to you. I want to help you to become better at planning, creative production, deep work, time management, focus. I want you to become better at taking action, not just thinking about what you want to do. And I want to help you to live a purpose-driven life and an intentional life, because once you find that path, you will never give it up. And when you're living a purpose-driven life and an intentional life, all sorts of negative feelings that will come up from time to time, from day to day, they will never stop you for long, because you'll realize, oh, feelings, how I feel, if I might feel a little bit depressed, or if I might be feeling like complaining or frustrated or angry, those feelings can never last for long in the fire of your passion and the fire of your creative vision. So having that creative vision, that purpose-driven life, it's just like a force field that protects you as you trailblaze through life. So that's really what I want to help you to realize. It doesn't matter if you're specifically into game design or language learning. I think you can learn a lot from this channel. So if you enjoyed this video today, give it a like, leave me a comment, come back to watch some other videos soon. I'm trying to post shorts daily and long form videos a little bit less frequently, but still pretty frequently recently. And feel free to reach out and tell me about your creative project. I would love to support you in any way I can. All right, but that's it for today's video. I'll see you back here next time at Legendary Language Learner. Bye-bye for now.